1160 WCCSradio.com. Good morning to you. Mr. Bob Pollock in the studio with us this morning. And our visit presented by Marcus & Mack, voted best law firm, best personal injury lawyer 4 years in a row, and the best of Indiana County contests. You can visit them online at marcusandmack.com. If you have a question for Bob, you can call. The 479-1160 line isn't functioning here today, but the 349 WCCS line is 349-9227 if you want to give Bob a call this morning and ask him questions. It is bugs trying to find their way indoor season now.
Aren't they, though?
Stink bugs are everywhere. Yep. Centipede. I saw a centipede last night. It must have been 8 feet long. Seemed like it anyway.
Yeah.
Those things are nasty, and they're fast.
They are fast.
Yeah, yeah. Are there...
Just like those spotted wing. They're fast.
Spotted lanternfly?
Yeah.
You think they're fast? I don't think they're
Well, they hop.
Fast. Yeah, they do.
You know, you try to step on them,
yeah,
and they will elude your foot if you're not fast.
They've got juke moves is what they've got.
Yeah. They don't fly very well.
Yeah.
But they can hop.
But, you know, in some counties around us, they're very, very evident spotted lanternflies. So it's bug season. When they come indoors, obviously they're seeking the warmth of the winter. But they have to feed on something too, don't they?
No.
They don't?
Usually in that overwintering time frame, if they're overwintering as an adult,
they can just be.
Yeah. Hopefully they've fed enough, you know, have enough body fat stored, energy from feeding already, that they're going to kind of spend the winter and settle down and just be in a protected spot. Unfortunately, sometimes that happens to be inside.
Yeah.
Which isn't always the best place for them because it's warmer in there. They're not necessarily looking for warmth because warmth, they're going to burn energy more so than if it's cold.
Which will make them hungry?
So, yeah, but then they don't have anything to feed on.
Unless you brought your plants inside.
Right. Yeah, right.
Which leads to where I was going, which was, is it time to begin training our plants for the indoors now? Even though it is still summer-like outside, and cold weather is eventually going to come.
Right.
Hopefully rain will come at some point
Yes.
during the century as well.
Again.
But in terms of getting those plants inside and training them for the indoors as opposed to training them for the outdoors, which we do in the springtime, is it time to do that yet, or can we wait?
Doing the opposite. So those real tropical plants, you know, the ones that are the most sensitive to cold, those ones start with those first. You know, there's other ones that are in between that'll take a little bit cooler temperatures.
Because it's getting into the 40s tonight.
Yeah, and then next week it looked like there's a couple days where we might dip down into the 30s. So that's getting a little cool for a lot of those tropical houseplants. So, you know, you might want to either move them to a more protected spot or start that transition process. And it's good to be looking at those now just to see what's going on that plant. You may not have paid much attention to it all summer. So look at the leaves closely. You know, are there, because there very easily could be aphids on there, mites. There could be some scale insects.
Creatures that have been enjoying their hospitality for the summer.
And sometimes there can be non-pest insects that might be living in the soil or just around the plant. You know, spiders would be an example.
Okay.
Not hard to deal with, but nonetheless, you know, another insect that could be on there, and you might transport it indoors unknowingly.
When we do look at those plants that we're bringing indoors, and you have talked about this before, it's important to look at the underside of the leaf.
Yes.
And the old white paper test really does work, doesn't it?
It does work.
Yeah.
Yep. That sheet of paper,
So
hold it underneath the leaves, tap on the leaves, and then with that white surface, it's much easier to be able to see something that's very tiny, like a spider mite, and also see it moving, because they'll move around, and it's much easier to see.
The old hand mirror underneath, that could work too.
Yeah. And then you don't always have to have magnification. When you use the piece of white paper, oftentimes our eyes will be able to pick that movement up and see that there's actually something living there versus having to get a 10 power, 15 power hand lens to look at it, which a lot of people don't carry around.
Yeah. Now, when we do bring our plants indoors, and if you're doing it now, you're probably bringing them in for the night, taking them back out in the day. Yes? Is that
Yes,
what people do?
yeah, sure.
Yeah. All right.
Yep.
When you do bring them indoors, in terms of setting up the environment for them to thrive, what are some of the things we need to pay attention to?
Well, of course, light. Trying to match up as best we can the lighting situation. And oftentimes it's not a new plant. It's a plant that you've done this with season after season. So you pretty much have a area or room in the house where it's going to go.
Mm-hmm.
So just, checking to make sure how much light this plant needs, and just trying to, as best you can, match that up. The light thing goes a long way. Temperature ranges are probably going to be okay. We just watch for vents, depending on your heating system. If you have forced air heat, then just trying to keep plants kind of away from where that air is coming up out of the register. Grouping plants together always is usually beneficial because you'll create a little bit more of a humidity there when you have a group of plants versus a single plant. And of course, if you have a humidifier on your furnace system, then that helps maintain the moisture levels, which are more helpful to the plants. If we don't have that, and if we're using wood burner or something like that can really, heat things up, dry the air out, then we need to be thinking about how can we provide a little bit better, more humid environment for the plants.
Forced air heat is a whole lot different than baseboard water heat.
Yes.
In terms of what it's going to do to the humidity in a room.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So, trying to match that up with the system that you have, to benefit the plants, or making accommodations when necessary to keep them looking good and keep them from having leaves dry out, and losing leaves over the winter. A lot of those plants slow down a little bit anyway over the winter.
Yeah.
They're not going to be as active in growing as during the summer months in the growing season. So they will slow down anyway. So we need to, look at the, and also thinking about if you need to repot something now, you could do that. Of course, you can wait till, we do the reverse, and bring them out in the spring, after the winter, repot them, and then put them back outside. Or even if they stay inside, but we could do that either time frame now. If you want to change the container,
just for a different
you
look.
found a different look.
Yeah.
That sort of thing. We can be doing that now, and that also gives you a good chance to take a close look at the plant. If it may have grown well over the season too, where it really needs to be. It's pot bound, meaning the root system is outgrowing the size of the container.
So they're circling the container.
Yeah. If it's really hard to get the plant out of the container, and then those circling roots going around, we need to chop that up. Just getting that out of there. Depending on the plant, whether there's multiple plants in there, that they can be pulled apart and divided, and then you make new plants, more containers. Or maybe you just want that one plant. But then, working with it to just making a slice in 3 places around that root ball, so that those roots don't continue to circle.
Yeah. You're not going to harm the plant by doing that.
No, it's actually beneficial and will help it in the long run to do that.
Hey, the roses are blooming again outside.
Yeah.
Isn't that nice?
It is nice.
Yeah.
So
to the end of summer, you might have thought they were done in July, but
Right,
they're back now.
They're back now. They've took a little hiatus there, and now depending on the rows you have, they'll blooming.
Yeah.
I know you showed me a nice picture of yours.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and we have some that doing the same thing right now.
Yeah.
So it's kind of nice, just little freshen things up and something nice to look at in the landscape.
They're pretty. All right. Thank you, Robert.
You're welcome.
It is Indiana in the Morning on WCCS. 101.1 FM, AM 1160, and WCCSradio.com. Coming up, top of the hour, a couple of moments away from now, it'll be Fox News. Then Josh Widdowson is with us from the WCCS newsroom. It's a beautiful Friday morning.